Vol Society live on this Wednesday night. My name is David Morrison. I am the Vol Society lead analyst. We're all over social media with our Vol Society network, facebook.com/UT Vol Society. On YouTube, where you're watching us live right now, youtube.com/Vol Society, and on Twitter at Society Vol. Normally, I have a laundry list of what to talk about tonight, but, we're coming off a holiday weekend. There is some news out there, and we'll kind of discuss it throughout the evening. But we thought tonight, let's just enjoy it. The weather is nice outside, although we're in a heat advisory here in East Tennessee. We're going to make this kind of like we're sitting outside on the back porch. We're whatever frosty beverage you may prefer. Let's just talk Tennessee athletics. So the show tonight is yours. I'm just going to kind of lead it into maybe throwing some discussion to topics, but whatever you want to talk about tonight, let's talk about it. It's just a simple way of thanking our Vol Society family for growing this page. I've been doing this show almost coming up a year in September. Our founder, Brad, is in the chat. Says hello to our fearless lead analyst, David. Go Vols. Go Vols indeed. So like I said, the chat room is open, whether you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Like I said, we're going to turn the show over to you. Like I said, questions and comments. Let's have a great show. Let's, share the video out. Let's get a lot of viewers in here tonight. A lot of our Vol Society family, maybe Vol fans who've not heard of us. Let's try to get this video out there tonight. And like I said, we'll try to go an hour tonight. Maybe longer, depends on how we go, or if I run out of stuff to talk about. Anyways, I'll kind of start it off a little bit. Like I said, the big news, I guess, this week, as far as Vol fans go, is the return of the Vol letters to Neyland Stadium. So we heard during the renovations at Neyland Stadium that the famous Vol letters would be returning on top at Neyland Stadium once again. And this week, we finally got to saw it. The classic orange letters, VOLS, on top of Neyland Stadium in the south end zone where they rightfully be deserved. Actually, we got two of them. Originally, we just had one right dead center in the south end zone, and some most famous shots in Tennessee history was right there. And then they put the Jumbotron in. Why would they get rid of such a tradition? Glad to have it back. Yeah, I'm glad to have it back too. Apparently, kind of doing some information, right after we won the national championship in 1998, we ended up putting in the Jumbotron in the south end zone, and it was the orange Jumbotron, the scoreboard, and then we took down those things. Hello to my grandparents watching along. They ended up taking down the orange letters, and they replaced it with the white letters on top of it. So yeah, it kind of fit in with the tradition, but it just wasn't the same. And then when we put in the big LED, HD, 4K scoreboard, 4 or 5 years ago, then those letters was just gone and really just almost an erase history of Tennessee football. And, like I said, when Danny White came aboard, he saw the white letters kind of in a storage closet somewhere on the campus of the University of Tennessee. And, he's like, hey, look what I found. And they did like photo ops with it, like at the orange and white game and various Tennessee games. And the light bulb went off in his head and said, we got to get these back on top of the Neyland Stadium. And they're on top of it. Really cool to see that. Like I said, and I'm glad they went with the orange, ball sign, like from the 80s and 90s, instead of throwing them white ones back on top of it. So that's really cool. It definitely has that nostalgic feel with that modern touch to it. So I'm glad to see that back on top of Neyland Stadium. Also, we got to see for the first time the new Jumbotron in the north end zone. Of course, that's going to be the new party zone area that's coming. I don't know if it's coming this season, but it's supposed to be part of the final plan once everything is wrapped up in like the next 3 or 4 years. So definitely interested to see. What do y'all think about it? Like, I know Brad is excited to see it. Like I said, really cool to see kind of Neyland Stadium with everything changing in college football and way stadiums are modernizing to the next generation of fans. It's cool to see some traditions of college football still being implemented out there. Brad says should be a fun time seeing fresh changes. Yes, absolutely, and we need it bad. Yeah, like I said, like I said, I'm a college football traditionalist. I love the tradition of the game, the pageantry, everything that is sewn into the game of college football, even the stadiums. But at the same time, you don't want to have a stadium that kind of looks a little decrepit and a little time. You know, looks like it's from the 20s or 30s at times, especially like when it comes to bathrooms and concession stands and stuff. There's good to keep some tradition stuff in there, but absolutely. Uh, Brad says maybe they will put the Petros out front and let and let the fans take a picture of them. We'll send that to Danny White. Put the Petros out in front and let the fans take pictures. Yep. Oh goodness, I can't wait till they get rid of them things. I don't even use the facilities inside Neyland Stadium. Uh, but yeah, that's funny, Brad. Yeah, I just wait to get in like Maryville or somewhere. But yeah, like I said, whatever else you want to talk about, we're growing our viewership. Thank you for everybody so far tuning in. Like I said, share the video out. Like I said, tonight this is just a fun Vol Society. Like I said, we haven't had a lot. Like I said, there's some news out there, but like I said, this is a special thank you to everybody for helping grow Vol Society. Like I said, we're just laying back tonight and letting the show go to you. Um, Brad said, I just saw that, such a disgrace. Absolutely, yeah. I'm ready for them to change, and even like the concessions and stuff. Uh, but yeah, let's see what else is going on. Like I said, today we're 57 days away until it's football time in Tennessee. Brad says, if you're watching this video right now, I want to see a question or comment. Come on, folks, let's get involved. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, this is your show tonight. I'm not just running down news and notes. Let's have some fun tonight with this show. Like I said, we're 57 days away until we take on Ball State Thursday night, September the 1st, 7 o'clock kickoff on the SEC Network. Like I said, we're going to see. 57 days. Absolutely. It's wow. It's getting quick. Even doing the countdown to kickoff on our Ball Society Facebook page with the VFLs, it just felt like yesterday we just posted the 100, 100 or 99 to kick off. And now here we are, 57. It's going to go quicker, especially building the anticipation. A lot of exciting stuff. On the horizon, in my opinion, with Tennessee football. Like I said, this is a big year. You kind of, if you want to take social media or other fans' opinions to heart or take it with a grain of salt, that's your view. Like I said, a lot of folks are, kind of looking at Tennessee like, are they really back? We've heard this year after year after year after year. For me, like I said, I think this can be a big step in the right direction. Like I said, going 7-6 last year when we were projected to maybe even just barely get 6-6, and that was the ceiling. And the wins we had last year, beating teams that we're supposed to beat, but beat them in a dominant performance. Mr. Ryan is in the house. Yes. Nice contract for Chandler, also which new corner makes the biggest impact for Vols football. Okay, yeah. We were talking about this last week, Ryan. Like I said, I think defensive backs are probably kind of the weakest position right now on this football team. As far as who's going to be a big impact, I would probably say Andre Turrentine, the transfer from Ohio State. Whether or not he's a day one starter, we'll see when summer and fall practice gets underway. But I'm hearing a lot of good stuff about him. Brandon Turnage is another guy. He'll probably play more in the star role, but he has some experience at corner. He won the SEC Defensive Player of the Week during the South Carolina game. So those two I'm kind of watching out for. Like I said, we'll see hopefully Warren Burrell can take a step in the right direction. He was burned last year at times. Kamal Haddon was burned definitely a lot last year. Like I said, it's going to be interesting to see. I just want to see. I want to see what they can do as far as like shutting down these receivers. Like I said, I'm not looking for big ball hawk corners this year, but I want them to at least defend better and not just letting receivers blow right by them on a constant basis. And that's been going on for a while now. So we'll see. Charlie says, do you think we'll have a top 10 recruiting class in 2023? I think it's very possible, especially if we show progress this year. Yeah, I think we can. Going back to 4th of July when everybody's looking to see if Francis Mauigoa was going to commit to us. Turns out he went to Miami, and everybody's talking about, well, Tennessee can't get the 5 stars of the big players. They spend too much money on Nico and yada, yada, yada. Well, now fast forward 48 hours later, tomorrow at 4:30, we can end up picking up a big-time wide receiver in Cameron Seldon, who was a Penn State lock for a long time, and now all of a sudden the wave is shifted over to Tennessee. And I still think there's some good players still out there. And you can still sway some people. Like I said, these kids are just going into their senior year in high school. It's not like they need to make a commitment now. There's still plenty can go around, and you never know. Maybe somebody who's committed to a school right now could all of a sudden decommit and come over to us. So yeah, absolutely. And like I said, this year's a big year. I think if the trend continues to go, and you pick up some wins, and you got to beat one of the 3 teams. Alabama and Georgia is going to be a tall order, but you definitely got to beat Florida. And that kind of shows these kids, okay, maybe Tennessee is heading in the right direction in the SEC East. They're not just kind of 3rd or 4th in these. Read Brad's, and then I'll read Larry and Karen Phillips' question. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. Have you heard the stuff lately about Danny White telling coaches to stay away from Spire Sports and NIL? And apparently it's already started affecting some of our recruiting. I've heard some rumors about that. We 3 months ago, we were hearing how Spire Sports was leading the way in NIL and bringing these recruits. And I think that's where we were talking to guys like Carnell Tate and Francis Mauigoa and some other big names. And of course, Nico, we already locked Nico up. And now it seems like since when Nick Saban had his little spew out with Texas A&M and, the SEC kind of reprimanded both Fisher and them, it feels like they've kind of pulled back. And yeah, bro, I think I'm getting really concerned about it. It's a little interesting because, like I said, you don't hear anything about Spire Sports anymore. It's just kind of like they went away, and it's gonna, it's very interesting to see. And like I said, this is the way recruiting is going to go in the future. So I still believe there should have been some sort of rules and something to when they were going to launch NIL and the way recruiting is going, they should have had some boundaries set in place. But the NCAA didn't want to accept the change, and it's a Wild West show right now. So it can be interesting. Like I said, I still think at the end of the day, you're going to have to win games and sway some people to come. Larry Carey Phillips says, no worries on offense, defense. Let's get off the field on 3rd down. Yeah, absolutely. 3rd down is going to be a crucial point this year, especially with our corners, and we're going to have to be ready, especially like, we're an up-tempo team. We're going to be scoring as quickly as we can, and hopefully we can get our defense ready to kind of be ready and get off on third down and still score some points. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Tim Banks and the entire defensive staff does when they react on third down. And Brad says, I'm telling you, there's talk out there about this, and people think Danny is telling our coaches not to deal with NIL, which is crazy because NCAA has no power anymore. Yeah. I don't know if Danny's telling the coaches about not to deal with NIL and money. I don't know. Like I said, there's no real budget on NIL with these schools. I mean, we heard Ryan Day before Carnell Tate committed said that he was trying to find $13 million to get these players signed. And, lo and behold, I'm sure somebody opened their checkbook and gave them that. And, it's interesting. Like I said, it's a change in college football with NIL and like I said, the way that, what these kids are asking. And like I said, we don't really dealing with agents right now. Brett says Tony Vasile has had the insider info and has been talking about it. Look it up. Okay, I will. Like I said, it's a change, and I think a lot of teams are just kind of getting used to it. Some probably have better resources, and it seemed like we were kind of in the forefront with Spire Sports, and it's I don't know. It's interesting to see, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us in the end. We'll just kind of have to see how this season plays out. But good questions and good comments, everybody coming in. Like I said tonight, this is your show. Whatever you want to talk about is fine. And I'll kind of add on to more of the recruiting aspect. It's kind of interesting to read it from non-Tennessee fans looking from the outside in, like oh well, Tennessee is it's just your show tonight, Ron Hughes. From the outside looking in, it's like Tennessee's been 3-star U forever and yada yada yada, and then Monday we end up picking up our first player in the 2024 class, and Jonathan Eccles. And everybody's like, well, star ratings don't mean a thing. It's like kind of the frustrating dealing with that. It's like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? I'm just happy we finally got a player in 2024. And even on our Ball Society page, some people got lost in the big world of Facebook, found Ball Society, and I guess they thought they were on another fans page. So I had to showed them back the way. So very fun doing that. Well, fun and not fun. Any others? Like I said, this has been pretty fun. Like I said, we've kind of touched a little bit with NIL and stuff, but we haven't had a full discussion on it. So this is some good stuff. It's like I said, the college football landscape is changing. For me, I've always knew college football was a business. I just, now we're finally getting to it's finally being opened up and stuff to us. So, get back to Brad's comment in a minute. Charlie says, do you think will be improved on the offensive line? I think there's one spot they're unsure about. They have candidates, not for sure. I think right tackle, yes. Right tackle to me is kind of the big question mark. We're pretty much locked up, from left tackle up to right tackle with Darnell Wright. You got Cooper Mays at center, Spraggins, Jerome Carvin. So you got 4 linemen that's really good. That 5th one is going to be a crucial part. You got the transfer in, Gerald Mincy from Florida. Don't know what to really expect from him this year. You also have Dane Davis, who got some playing time last year, but every game he kept getting hurt and banged up, and he would try to fight through the pain, but you really was concerned about his health and safety out there. That's kind of my concern, is the right tackle position. Like I said, Nico is a right-handed quarterback, so he's going to see that coming to his side, and he could scramble out of the way. But it's just how these defenses are they going to line everybody up on the right and go after Hendon Hooker that way, or kind of play conservative that way? Brad says should have a decent line and stay healthy. Yeah. Like I said, these offensive linemen, they're probably the first one to go down early in the year. And defensive linemen, just the girth and the size and the physicality, just being hit every play, and especially players going high and low, knees go out, ankles. So like I said, you want to have a strong offensive line throughout this season, especially like I said, you're going to have guys get banged up throughout the year. It's just, all right, do you feel confident with anybody behind them after that? Brad earlier said 10 wins this year, Vols fans. It's a possibility. Like I said, I think we could get there, with the bowl win. I'm still looking at 9-3. The LSU game still kind of scares me. Going down to Death Valley. Yeah, it's going to be right after a bye week after we play Florida. But it's still Tiger Stadium, Death Valley, on a Saturday night, maybe a Saturday afternoon. Who knows? I'm still a little concerned about that one. Like I said, Alabama, Georgia still kind of tall orders. Although we get Bama at home, it could be interesting in the first half. We'll see. Can they still bring it out in the second half? We kind of did last year, really up to the fourth quarter. So we'll see. Everybody else, I feel very confident to fairly confident we can get the rest of the wins. Who's a huge playmaker for us this year? Offensively, I think Cedric Tillman's going to be one. Like I said, we all know what Hendon Hooker can do, but like I said, Tillman, I think, can be an all SEC wide receiver. May flirt with All-American status. I mean, you got, Ohio State's got a ton of great wide receivers, All-American wide receivers. Alabama's going to have a bunch. Jordan Addison, who we saw last year at Pitt, now going to USC, he could be an All-American wide receiver. Tillman could maybe flirt with that third-team All-American, but I definitely think he can be a first-team All-SEC wide receiver. He can put up some big numbers. Brad says, if we beat Bama or Georgia, I'm running naked in my neighborhood. Oh, my goodness. Just don't post that online. Defensively, Ryan Hughes, Frank the Tank. Yes, a little old school reference. Defensively, I like Byron Young to be a playmaker for us. He had some flashes of brilliance last year. I think he can really take a step up this year, get an all-SEC team. I really love his story. I really love the way he plays. Any others? It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody so far tuning in. Like I said, right, it says you know it. Goodness. That would be wild if we could end up getting a win over Bama or Georgia. I mean, crazy any given Saturday. And, you have to think about that. Like I said, even with Bama coming in, and we talked about the last several weeks. Yeah, classic movie, old school with Will Ferrell and Luke Wilson, and great movie. Vince Vaughn's in it. Yeah. Like I said, we talked the last several weeks about, possibly College game day coming to Knoxville the week of the Alabama game if both teams are undefeated. I think the only other game that may hurt us, or that game day may go, is like Ohio State, Penn State that day or something, or Michigan, Penn State, excuse me. Charlie says, do you think Dwan Mitchell will really come on this year? Didn't really get a chance last year. He was hurt most of the season. Yeah. Everything I'm hearing, he's healthy. He's gotten better shape. Like I said, I don't know if he had a weight problem coming in from Texas to Tennessee that really hurt him, but I heard he's in great shape. Seems like he's doing very well. So I expect to see good things from him. Like I said, I still think Jeremy Banks and Aaron Beasley will be your starters, but I think Juwan Mitchell can definitely rotate in and out in the linebacker position. Depends on how it's set up and what he feels comfortable with, and whatever the coaching staff makes him, feels comfortable what package he needs to be a part of. Brad says I could see Florida maybe for game day if undefeated. Possibility. I gotta those early games. They usually ESPN kind of figures out early on where they're going, but you never know. Ryan says thoughts on league expansion. Will the pods help or hurt Tennessee? Yeah. The big other big story in college football is this league expansion. Like I said, we're getting Oklahoma and Texas by 2025. We saw USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. I understand it from a business model perspective why they did that. More money. The only thing is, I want to see does the TV viewership how it's going to relate. Because if I'm a Penn State fan, am I going to stay up to 10:30 to watch watch Penn State play USC or USCLA on the West Coast and be up to 2 in the morning? I mean, the diehards will, but I wonder about the casual fans and maybe people on the East Coast viewership. It should be all that. Brad says, I must be old school, but I don't like all this crap moving around. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the traditions is, some expansions kind of make sense, but there's a lot of them that doesn't make sense. I don't think, I still think geographically is the way to go. Like I said, you could, the Pac-12 kind of dug themselves in this hole because they have their own 24-hour network like the SEC network or Big Ten network, but the SEC and the ACC network is funded through ESPN. The Big Ten network is funded through Fox Sports. Pac-12 is its own independent station, and apparently not every home on the West Coast gets the Pac-12 network. So in the coverage on the West Coast is not as big as in the Southeast or in the Midwest, where college football is more popular and more of a revenue. Just the way it is, and I understand, you want to attract an LA market to the Big Ten, but it's just going to look kind of weird. I mean, yeah, you probably get some cool matchups with USC and Ohio State or UCLA and Michigan, but like I said, if those are night games on the West Coast, are you going to stay up to 2 a.m. and watch them? Or if you're a casual fan, are you going to stay up and watch Michigan play UCLA, at 10 o'clock if you're on the East Coast? I mean, I don't know. And I know the vice versa with the West Coast, getting up early to watch that. It's still kind of, it's all kind of just new to me. I mean, like I said, we've seen expansions to the last several decades, with the old Southwest Classic merging with the Big 8, and they became the Big 12. Brad says, I'm in bed by 10 p.m. these days. Same here. Maybe weekends I try to push it, but not much. We've seen expansions, and it took some change, but I think fans kind of got settled in because it was still kind of geographically aligned. And I'll give credit to the SEC. Oklahoma and Texas, it's not in the Southeast. It's more in the Midwest, but, it does have a little bit of a geographical tie, because you have Arkansas has been in the SEC for almost 30 years. Texas A&M and Missouri is about to enter year 10 in the SEC. Like I said, Missouri's more north than others, but, that's another story. We just kind of got used to it. So at least it still kind of feels that way. But like if the SEC decided to add an Oregon or Washington or a Syracuse, I'm just throwing teams, just that doesn't really kind of make sense. It's going to feel weird. And I just, I don't know if you have that same passion and tradition like you have. Yeah, it's be cool to have a different team coming to Neyland Stadium, but, is it going to drive revenue or drive people to Neyland Stadium or drive people to the television? That's what's gonna be very interesting to see in 5 years. I don't see like viewership taking a big nosedive with it. Like I said, live sports is still the number one highest rated thing, throughout television. Like I said, everything is streaming. Your favorite primetime TV shows or your favorite limited series shows, they're more than likely on a streaming network. Live sports, they're starting to trend into some streaming networks, particularly Major League Baseball trying out with Apple TV. But most of your live sports is still on the traditional television networks, and that's like I said, you're probably not going to DVR a ball game necessarily. You're probably going to watch it live and get the live reaction because you're probably going to get spoiled if you DVR it. Kind of the same thing with the news. So it's an interesting approach. Uh, but that's a good question there, Ryan. Uh, yeah, I'm all streaming now. I love it. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I said, I'm a big Stranger Things fan, so I've really enjoyed the watching this last season. YouTube TV, yes, that's who I got too. I'll get back to your Brad asked earlier about the running back some. Looking at the running backs, it's going to be Jabari Small and Jalen Wright. We saw them kind of emerge towards the tail of the season. Jalen Wright was a freshman. It's probably going to be Small and White, tag teaming. Last year we had Tyreek Evans for a little bit, and then he hit the transfer portal mid-season. Running back I'm really looking forward to is Justin William Thomas. I think he'll be our starter one day. Maybe even at the end of the year if maybe Smaller right struggles, and I hope not. I want to see all three accelerate. I'm not trying to bash them at all, but I really think he has the best potential future of all the running backs we got. And like I said, whoever else comes aboard. Running back's going to be interesting to see. I think they'll be decent this year. I mean, like I said, Tennessee had a great running game last year. I mean, it wasn't all passing like a lot of people thought. It's not an air raid offense. I mean, it's a very balanced offense. It's just up tempo. Like I said, just keeping a healthy offensive line and opening the holes and not getting holding calls, you're going to get your running back some big games. And, I still think this is a good group that we've got with Jabari Small and Jalen Wright. Any others? It's been fun. I'm glad that we're doing this tonight. All right, says we have to get back to the backs like Travis Henry, Jamal Lewis, Travis Stevens. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, those are big bruising running backs too, and Small and Wright are not the level of a Henry, Lewis, Stevens, but you don't really see a lot of those big bruising backs. More recently, you saw with Derrick Henry, and look what he's doing in the NFL with the Titans, just putting out highlights every week, just throwing guys around. Like I said, running backs are now kind of more of a speed position. I agree, Brad. I miss those running backs too. I love the big. Like I said, being a Titans fan myself, it's cool to see what Derrick Henry does every Sunday, just slinging guys around and throwing a stiff arm every once in a while. It's a lot of fun, but you don't have a lot of that. You don't have that type of running backs, and I do miss those days. I mean, if Brandon Diaz can be a power back at McMinn County High School, I think he can. You can still bring it back. Shout out to fellow friend of ours, Brandon Diaz, who was skinnier than me in high school. Good stuff. Been a lot. This is a lot of fun here. Change of teams for 1 second. Thoughts on my Panthers getting Baker? Yeah. So our founder Brad is a Carolina Panthers fan and season ticket holder. Today they ended up picking up Baker Mayfield from the Cleveland Browns. My first thoughts was, I guess, with the Deshaun Watson situation with the lawsuits and all that, either it's not as serious as we think it's going to be. He's probably not going to get suspended for the season. That's what my original thought was, and they kind of used Baker as a security blanket. If he does get suspended for the year, you still have Baker for another year. But it seems like it's everything is good and Baker's on his way, and Deshaun Watson on your way. Good move by the Panthers. Yes, absolutely. Because like I said, we got last year you had Sam Darnold for a little bit and he got hurt, and then uh, that game you brought Cam Newton back and we were up there for that Panthers Falcons game, and he looked good for one quarter, and then you had PJ Walker who couldn't throw the ball 10 yards down the field. It's pretty. Yeah, I think it's a great move. I think it'll be fine. The other one, oh yeah, I love it. They had two of the top three quarterbacks from that year's draft. The other one will be Josh Allen. Yeah, it's gonna be it's a pretty interesting stat. And like I think Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson is the only one from that 2018 class that's still on the original team. Charlie question was, how do you feel about the wide receiver room outside of Tillman, Hyatt, and Brew McCoy? A lot of unproven talent. Yeah, we mentioned this couple last week and a couple weeks ago about the two Jimmys, Jimmy Holiday and Jimmy Callaway. Kind of what I'm hearing, Jimmy Callaway has really improved a lot. Hope to see him to get fit into that offense. Jimmy Holiday still kind of learning his ways. Hopefully he can get better. I know he's a really good special teams player. Uh, I would love to see that. And then the freshman, Squirrel White. I'm excited to see him. Like I said, he's a smaller player, but he's got a lot of speed. So very excited to see what he can do. Chaz Nimron, another one. Cam White. So yeah, I really think this wide receiver room with these freshmen coming in, down the road, Nico's going to have a lot of fun with. And I mean, even Hendon Hooker maybe playing with him a little bit, but I'm sure he's probably going to use, obviously, Tillman, Hyde, and McCoy for the most part. The future, whether it's Nico or Taven Jackson, I think they're going to have a lot of fun with these wide receivers. And then we'll see what happens tomorrow if we get the new one coming in. Selden. Brad says we need to get you on board as a Panther fan, Ryan. He used to come to a game this year. Yeah, we had a lot of fun last December with that, me and Mr. Dees. Ryan says, I'm excited about the talent in the wide receiver room. A lot of potential. Yeah. Like I said, that was kind of to me, the biggest takeaway from the 2022 class was those young wide receivers that we kind of got towards the tail end before the early signing day in December, and then they all sent their letter of intent in really early. And I like I said, there's some good young wide receivers, and I think can be dynamic playmakers. Speed kills, yeah. And we got some burners, and I'm excited about that. Like I said, we talked. I mean, it is a very balanced offense. We saw it last year. We're going to see it again this year with the running game. Featured mostly heavy, but I mean, the passing game is going to be a lot of fun. And like I said, you're going to see. We saw the deep balls last year. It's going to be interesting to see once Tillman's gone, who's going to emerge. Is it going to be Brew McCoy? Is Jalen High going to be there? Or one of the other ones? Brad says, we connect on passes, we can be very dangerous. Yes. I mean, you look back almost back at the beginning of the 2021 season, the biggest frustration was, man, we can't connect on the deep ball. Of course, a lot of that was Joe Milton. And we finally kind of got it going towards the mid-year. But, I want to see it a lot more. I mean, there was a lot of missed opportunities in those early games. I mean, I don't like playing the what if game, but for this sake, what if, we connected on that deep ball against Pitt? We could have easily won that game. I mean, could have put up a lot more points against Bowling Green, although 40, was it 45 or 56? I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. Brad says, remember when Milton threw a football over the mountains? Yeah, I do. There's your Napoleon Dynamite reference right there. It's like I said, that's going to be a big thing. Connecting some passes down the field this year. Like I said, I think Hendon Hooker's got the arm. Like I said, it's going to be, can that offensive line hold that, the oncoming defense up and connect on them? And then can our receivers get down there? Like I said, they can. They can, and they have before. It's just got to be on a consistent basis. And like I said, especially playing some of these teams this year, we got to do it. Besides Nico, California for Tennessee, which is about 14 commits already. Oh, okay. Besides Nico, California, which of the 14 commits are you excited? Oh, okay, I got you. I'm excited to see the one we picked, Christian Conyer, the number one player from the state of Kentucky. He just committed to us last week. He plays in the defensive backfield. Like I said, corners and defensive backs has been kind of a weakness. I'm excited to see where he can go with that. Trying to think, some of the defensive players I'm excited for. Sorry, just to play on Nico's last name. Yeah, that's it. That's all right because I saw Nico and then it said California. Yeah, Nico Iamaleava. That's how you say it. The California thing threw me off. I think it's from Nico Iamaleava. Man, I just messed that up. I'm gonna get out of that. Yeah, Christian Conyer, I'm excited about. First name top of my head. Trying to think of some others. Yeah, Trevor Duncan's another one I'm excited about. He's from Knox Catholic. I think he can be good. Jack Luttrell. Here's an old list right here. Yeah, Sylvester Smith, Jack Luttrell. Some safety. So yeah, defensive backs. Of course, we got Ronnie Harrison's kid, which he's part of the 2022 class. I think he can get some playing time. Any others? It's been, like I said, continue to roll along with these. Brad's kind of quiet now. Like I said, just kind of thinking about, kind of reflecting on what's going to happen. Like I said, I still think this can be a big year, exciting year. I'm not going to be saying we're going to be SEC champions or national champions because I know still got a lot of work to do. It's just still building the foundation and establishing talent. Like I said, in the SEC East, after Georgia, it's really a race for second place in the SEC East, and Will got it. Will Stallings, that's who Brad's looking forward to. Yeah, that's another good one. Just like I said, after Georgia, your preseason magazines are picking Kentucky to finish second in the East, and I think Kentucky's going to have a good year. Like I said, I just think we have a great shot of beating them because we get them at home. Like I said, we should know a lot about Kentucky by then. They're going to play some pretty tough competition kind of throughout before they meet us. They get Florida pretty early on. Brad says, "Bro, listen, Kentucky is not beating us." I don't think so either. Like I said, it's going to be a fun game, but like I said, it's just forget the magazines. Yeah. Oh, that one I told you, Brad. What was it? Lindy's had. It was ridiculous the way they had their setup. Yeah. Like I said, I still think we're going to finish second in the East. Brad says he can't stand Kentucky. Yeah. Well, Kentucky fans are not happy for us getting Christian Conyer, what I've heard. Like I said, we took the number one player from the number one high school player in the state of Kentucky, could get the number one high school player in the state of Virginia tomorrow, and Cameron Selden, and then we'll see what Bradley does from Missouri if he leans our way. Kentucky fans are not the greatest. Yeah. Kentucky fans are, like I said, they're fun to watch when like I said, I've been to Tennessee, Kentucky football games and Tennessee, Kentucky basketball games. And, they make a lot of noise at the beginning, but once they're losing, they kind of ease on out to the exits, and it's fun to watch. Charlie says, I'm excited about the Florida game. That's the most important game, in my opinion. Got to get them while they're down. I hate saying must win, but it's close. Same goes for the Gators. Awful, what Brad says. Yeah, I agree, Charlie. This, we mentioned this a lot on this show. If this is the year to beat Florida, this is the year. Like I said, because we don't know what Billy Napier is going to do down in Florida. With the recent track records of Florida coaches, it's you don't know what to expect. McElwain and Mullen got them to the SEC championship game, but then they were quickly exit like the next year or the year after. So we'll see how Billy Napier approaches it. But yeah, like I said, new coaching staff, they're going to be still learning their game plan. They get Utah at the Swamp week 1, and then they turn around and play Kentucky the next week. So they're going to be battle tested early on in the year. Hopefully they'll be 0-2, and then that's their first true road game is coming into a very hostile Neyland Stadium. Like I said, we'll already play Pittsburgh by then, and play a couple of MAC teams in between that. But yeah, like I said, get them while they're down. Like I said, we went through the coaching changes last year. We went through the growing pains. We know what our staff is now. We know what players are returning. Florida's still learning their team. You got to get them this year. I mean, there's no excuse. And, like I said, I'm not expecting a big year from Florida. They, I'm already hearing kind of comparisons to Billy Napier to Butch Jones. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, time will only tell. And Brad's agreeing with Charlie, saying, you're so right, Charlie. Gators game is the key. I promise you, the Florida game is the most important game on our calendar this year. Yes, because that's going to set the rest of the season. Yeah, we already know what Georgia and Alabama is going to bring. Don't ever say that name. Oh, Butch Jones. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, Brad's a big. Yeah, we'll just say that. Yeah, like I said, that's going to set the rest of the season. Like I said, you're going to be tested with Pittsburgh, but like I said, Pittsburgh's not going to hurt our SEC record. Florida's, like I said, that's the first one. You get the Florida game out of the way, you get a win. You've already knocked off one of the 3 big rival games of the year that you have to win to build a foundation. Then you go into the bye week, and then you go straight into back-to-back road games with LSU and Alabama. And like I said, it's going to be an emotional win beating Florida. When we get there, like I said, at least having that bye week there, you get the Florida buzz. You celebrate for a week, then you get the buzz off, then you focus on LSU. And there's a lot of people picking us to beat LSU because of that bye week being there. Like I said, I'm still a little worried what time that game is going to be. Like I said, if it's like a weird new game in Baton Rouge, then I think we got to find a shot. If it's at night, we'll see. Like I said, the rest of the SEC East, we beat last year except for Florida and Georgia. Like I said, we dominated for the most part. Like I said, the Kentucky game was a high-scoring affair, but we came away with a road win. But Missouri, we dominated right out of the gate. Dominated South Carolina right out of the gate. Dominated Vanderbilt right out of the gate. And then who was that? Who did we? Oh, well, the Ole Miss game. Was the other SEC game, but we don't play Ole Miss this year. We get LSU and Bama as far as teams from the West. Yeah. So, like I said, that's going to set the course for us. Like I said, we go to South Carolina this year. We'll see where South Carolina is by the time we play them. Yeah, golf ball. Hashtag golf ball. Yeah. Yeah, for the Ole Miss game. That's still one of the wildest games I've ever been to. Yeah. Hashtag never forget. Absolutely. Excuse me. Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, my predictions right now, I still think 9-3. I know Brad's going 10-2. I think is what he told me. Like I said, he thinks we're going to get that LSU game. I still have us losing Georgia, Alabama, LSU. and I think we'll win the rest. 9-3. I think we'll probably go to the Citrus Bowl, probably play a Big Ten team. If everything works out, like I said, I'm not expecting to just go out there and dominate and get 9 wins. There's going to be some close games, especially going on the road. I think Pitt's going to be an interesting matchup. While I feel confident in that game, it's, like I said, could be a shootout. Depends on how Keaton Slovis does. We'll find out how Pitt looks when they play West Virginia in week 1. South Carolina, like I said, we'll learn a lot about them. The Kentucky game at home could be interesting. Even the Florida game is going to be very interesting. Like I said, I just want to see, can this team mature and have their emotions checked in? I know we're a very hostile fan base, and this can be at times a hostile team. And, these are young kids. These are still 18 to 23-year-old kids that go through waves of emotion. I want to see, can the game come to them instead of, trying to do too many things at one time that could hurt us. So that's I want to see them to be cool under pressure in certain situations, and unfortunately, we haven't had that in a long time. We saw it some last year, but like I said, now we got to take that next step up. Brad says we will win 9 or 10. I'm beyond happy. Yeah. And the schedule plays out very well for us. Like I said, you get your typical cupcake games in the beginning, which this year's Ball State and Akron. Usually you have a non-conference game in November. This year you get it like right after the Alabama game at UT Martin. That's homecoming. You have, and then like I said, the rest of the SEC schedule is kind of played out like it normally sits. Georgia's in November this year for the second year in a row, which is normally October. South Carolina usually is around Halloween. It's actually further back. So, it still plays out very well for us for the most part. Brad says, great show, David. Lots of fun. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like I said, we've gone 53 minutes so far. Like I said, this is just kind of mainly been talking about Tennessee football, recruits, and kind of the future of college football. It's been a lot of fun. Next week, we're going to take a break, a little bit of a summer break to kind of recharge our batteries for Ball Society Live. But we'll be back probably towards the end of July. Like I said, just to, just get kind of excited, get fired back up for football and do some stuff for Ball Society. T-shirts. I'll give you an update on T-shirts. T-shirts will be here next week. So, like I said, we'll be starting doing some pre-orders. We kind of did a small little batch of orders right now just to see how it looks. Once we get, the okay from everybody at Ball Society, we'll send some out, and then we're going to make another shirt up for the football season. Charlie had a question. Do you think 9 wins will be enough to get Hooker serious consideration for the Heisman race if he has a good season? Just depends on the numbers and depends on how everybody else is stacked up. I think as far as your Heisman names go, Bryce Young's going to be in there. C.J. Stroud from Ohio State. Caleb Williams at USC is going to have some buzz. I think Kenda can be a dark horse, but he's going to have a big time win. And even beating a Georgia and Alabama definitely will get him in there. Like I said, it just depends on how he does in these big games and can he really, like I said, he's going to have to credible numbers. And Brad said probably not. It's going to be a tough, tall order for Hooker to possibly get it. But like I said, he's going to have to put up like ridiculous numbers to get there. And Brad says lots to do, prepare for football season. Absolutely. Podcast is coming this summer, at the end of the summer, going into football season. Ball Society Podcast still setting up for that. Myself, Brad, DVDs, and other special guests coming aboard. Like I said, still doing the countdown to kickoff every day. Like I said, we'll be doing just a lot of cool stuff throughout football season. Be going up to Neyland Stadium a few times this year, doing some behind the scenes, kind of like game day stuff. Getting prepared for kickoff. And Brad says almost time, folks. Absolutely. very excited to see what this season takes place, and could be a big year. Like I said, last year, we were kind of, like I said, a new coaching staff, and when I was in those early episodes of All Society Live, we were talking about, uh, well, we could, as long as we get to a bowl game, we'll be all right, and yada yada yada. Well, now here we are, talking about 9, 10 wins and possibly playing I wouldn't say a New Year's Six bowl game, but definitely in consideration for uh, and playing in a pretty big bowl game for the most part. Uh, Another comment here. Year one was awesome, and I expect this year to even be better. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you want to improve for what you got. Like I said, last year was a lot of question marks, a lot of uh, faces without names, and a lot of kind of like figure out who's who, and they became overnight heroes in an instant. Hendon Hooker, Cedric Tillman, Byron Young, uh, and then we saw players emerge to the NFL: Matthew Butler, Cade Mays, Bayless Jones, Theo Jackson emerged and got to the NFL. So I expect to kind of see the same thing. I'm excited to see some of the newer players coming in. Brew McCoy, Wesley Walker from Georgia Tech. I haven't even mentioned him on the show. I keep forgetting about him. Andre Turrentine from Ohio State, another transfer. Gerald Mincy from Florida. Like I said, how's this team going to look in 2022? And you got a lot of returning players, even special teams having Chase McGrath, another transfer from USC from last year. Like I said, just establishing this. Charlie says, great show. Have a good night. Go Vols. Thank you, Charlie, for tuning in. Great questions tonight. Looking forward to it. And go Vols. And, have a great night, sir. Yeah. And Brad says, thank you for making Ball Society your source for ball talk. Yeah, absolutely. This has been a lot of fun, folks. Like I said, like I said, it's not really a dead point right now, but wasn't a lot of big news going on, or not really enough to do an hour. So like I said, this was a lot of fun. This show's kind of morphed into, like I said, me talking about headlines and news and stuff, into, with the chat room and just kind of throwing questions my way. And like I said, I wanted to turn it over to y'all and just like have a discussion. I saw we called it the summertime, relax or whatever, and chill and talk about Tennessee football or whatever you had in mind. Like I said, it's been all football, and that's fine because that's the next thing coming aboard. 57 days away till it's football time in Tennessee. I'm excited to go up there, look at the new renovations. Hopefully we get a new nice bathroom. We'll see how that looks. Like I said, Tennessee's popping right now. Knoxville's popping. Don't let anti-Tennessee fans tell you otherwise. That like I said, I still think this is the right direction. There's a lot of change going on in college athletics. Go Clayton Tross. Yes, absolutely. Let's paint it gold. Like I said, there's a lot of changes in collegiate athletics. We'll see what happens. But I think as far as right now, going into 2022, there's a lot of excitement. I expect to see some big crowds. Even with the renovations they was talking about, we would go under 100,000. Well, that didn't happen. Like I said, Danny White did a great job as far as like keeping that number above 100,000, like 101, over 101,000. And I expect to see maybe a couple of games this year to get over 100,000, particularly Florida and Alabama, and hopefully some more. Like I said, I think Kentucky can get there. Depends on how they kind of look and how we are by this point. Some of their maybe the opener might get there. We'll see what the Ball State game does. Like I said, it's almost here. I'm excited. And Brad says, I'd rather have comfort over quantity. Yeah. And like I said, it's fun to have that 100,000 name there. And it's still cool to still say that. But like I said, being scrunched in there for 4 hours, after a while, it kind of gets a little uncomfortable from time to time. But, we'll see how it looks. Yeah, it's, like I said, been a lot of fun. We've hit 1 hour. let's say that was our goal to do 1 hour tonight. Bring you questions aboard. Yeah, sardines in a can. That's pretty much. Yeah, especially you'll feel your legs after a couple of hours. Oh man, unless you're in the student section, then I guess you're kind of comfortable. But yeah, last year I actually got to somehow end up wound myself into the student section for the South Carolina game. I realized I'm not going to do the student section ever again. 1 hour of awesomeness. Yeah, absolutely. This has been a lot of fun. That was like 101, 23, 24, 25 right now. Still got 6 viewers in here. That's pretty cool too. Like I said, as far as the likes goes, Terry, Ryan, Richard, thank you very much. And of course, Brad with the reaction too. Brad says he remembers the days of student section. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Also, a little quick news and notes. EA Sports announced that next year at this time we will have a college football game. So I guess NCAA football 24 will be arriving on store shelves, or I guess digital download next summer around this time. So we will have a college football game next year. So looking forward to that. I'm excited about that. Like I said, I'm not a big time gamer myself. I do play the sports game. Yeah, that brings back a lot of NCAA. Yeah, brings back a lot of memories. Yeah, yeah, I love the NCAA game. Real quick story, I'll tell you this. So, it's been 20 years now. Back when, of course, I never played football. I never played football myself. I was a band nerd in high school, so we had drum camp going on where I went to school. And I think the week before we went to drum camp, myself, Brian Regan, and Brent Ramirez, we went to Westtown Mall in Knoxville the day that NCAA Football 03 was released, and we bought it at I don't know if it was GameStop at the time or EB Games, whatever it was. We bought it and we brought it back to Brian's house and we played it on PlayStation 2. And then during drum camp, we grabbed a TV from the AV room at McMinn County High School, drugged it in the band room, and we would practice our drumming for the halftime show. And then during breaks, we would play some NCAA football on that big, gigantic television that was 100 years old. But that was a lot of fun. That's probably some of my favorite memories. And I remember, I don't know if Brad remembers this. Do you remember going to Derek Vessel's house probably, I don't know, our senior year, and we spent all day playing NCAA football in his basement? It's like Derek and myself, and maybe Millsaps was there. I always just had that kind of that memory. I think we done it once or a couple times, maybe. But yeah, this is just some good memories right there. Brad says, "Yep, yeah, yeah, that was a wild night." Yeah, just some good stuff. Yeah, I think we're kind of, we're now we went from Vol Society to high school memories, many tournaments. Yeah, many money that we won and lost that night. All right, so I think we're running out of stuff to talk about. We're talking about high school memories that only 10 people care about. So I guess it's a good time to wrap it up here. Thank you for tuning us on Vol Society Live. It's a summertime relaxing, chilling out. Thank you for everybody tuning in. We went an hour and 5 minutes tonight. Yeah, right, says ha. So like I said, thank you for tuning in. We're going to take a couple weeks off on Vol Society Live. Like I said, just to kind of recharge our batteries, kind of recharge my batteries. Like I said, we'll start doing kind of this up until football season. Like I said, just thank you. This is just a special thank you to everybody as we wrap up. I guess you can call this season 1 of Vol Society Live, and we'll be back towards the end of the month, and we'll start season 2 of Vol Society Live. Thank you for everybody for tuning into our episodes so far for this year, through football season, basketball season, baseball season. For everybody tuning in for the Music City Bowl preview show and post-game show. That was a pretty fun event episode, the March Madness show, other stuff. Like I said, plenty of stuff still coming along through Vol Society. Like I said, make sure you're following our social media accounts, facebook.com/UT Vol Society. Let me hit the right button. There you go. YouTube.com/Vol Society, and on Twitter at Society Vol. Like I said, countdown. We're doing the countdown to kickoff every day. To kicking off, or countdown to kickoff at least. Yeah, we're getting started, folks. T-shirts will be coming aboard. Podcast is on its way. Like I said, year 3 of Vol Society as far as the network goes. And then here in a couple of weeks, like I said, we're going to take a couple of weeks off, and then we'll start back up with season 2 of Vol Society Live. So until next time, for our founder, Brad, everybody behind the scenes at Vol Society Network, some of our great fans out there, Ryan and Kevin, even Chancellor Plowman joined us in this year. Dees, Johnny, and just a bunch of others. And like I said, I'm going to start forgetting names, so I'm going to stop as I'm ahead. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, we'll be back. We're taking a bit of a summer break, but stay tuned. Vol Society Live Season 2 is on its way. Until next time, have a great night. And as always, go Vols. See you later.